everybody. Welcome to FusionShare. My name is Tom Alexander, and really excited today to talk with our special guest. He is a fantastic drummer and absolutely, and a composer as well. And he's going to be appearing right here in South Florida at Crazy Uncle Mike's in Boca Raton. He is J-Rod Sullivan. J-Rod, welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Pleasure being on here, man. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you, man. You know, we were talking a little bit ahead of time here before the podcast, and I just got listening to the title track from an album called The Comeback, and it's The Comeback's the tune, and wow, man, just absolutely burning. I mean, that was just fantastic. Just beautiful playing all around. Congratulations on that recording.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, now you co-composed this tune along with your keyboard player, is that right?
I did the title track, yes. So
Yeah.
it started out as like a YouTube track that I composed back like in, I want to say like 2016 or so.
Yeah.
And once I got the idea or the urge to do my own album, I took the track to Clarence and I'm like, hey man, I think I want to do my own album. So can you help me rearrange this and make it, up to par to where we're at musically? And he was like, yeah. So we kind of revamped it a little bit, made it more musical, and I obviously put the Four Corners style on it as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, Four Corners is the name of your band, and
Correct.
why don't you tell the folks who's in the band Four Corners besides yourself behind the kit?
So it's me on drums, Clarence T. Lee Hill on keys, James Thompson on bass, and Ike Thompson on guitar. So out of the four, I'm the newest in the band. So I joined the band back in 2013. But prior to that, they had already been a band for several years. Obviously doing the fusion thing still, but in addition to that, they were already on the road touring with different artists.
Yeah.
And out there already working. I was in school, like high school or middle school or so. But
Right.
yeah, I'm the newest member in the band, and it's been an amazing journey. When I joined that band back in 2013, I felt like it was a situation that helped me to evolve into who I am today as far as music and my approach to music. So yeah, I definitely credit that situation for that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you've got this is like real heavy duty fusion stuff that, to me at least, when I first heard it, a little bit of a nod to like the Chick Corea Electric Band and those kinds of groups and Yellow Jackets and those kinds of bands
Right.
But what with a distinct original sound, and then you're also you kind of walk that tightrope a little bit, the high wire act with pop.
Mhm.
Janet Jackson, Jeffrey Osborne, folks like that,
Right.
huge
Right.
artists.
They are.
But it just sounds like you get to really stretch and really have fun with this kind of music than you might in maybe in the pop world, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was talking to my friend a couple of days ago, and I'm like, man, the band situation is an outlet for me to really express myself. I enjoy and I love playing and being a backing musician for different artists. But for me, it's very important to have that outlet and to be able to be free on my instrument and express myself however I feel in any moment. Of course, while being musical and serving the music, but
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like just having that space that you can really be creative in and not have so many boundaries.
Yeah.
It's important for me. And I think the band situation is that for me.
Yeah, and it really does. There's structure, but yet there's also a lot of freedom in that, and you get to
Exactly.
you get to stretch out and this music in particular,
Hmm.
fusion in general, and instrumental music really does
Right.
allow that for everybody, for all the musicians, and obviously the listeners get to partake in experiencing the energy of it. And I would
Exactly.
imagine, and I get this from a lot of musicians, you know, You guys feed off the energy of the room too, the crowd, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. We the most recent thing we did, well, it was two shows we did. We did one in well, two in California. The first one was at it's this network or company called Jam Card, and they host like jam open not open jam sessions, but just scheduled concert slash jam sessions,
Yeah,
maybe once a month or something like that. And it's invite only where musicians just gather, and it's very intimate, and they have one featured artist for the night. So we were the featured artist for that this particular night, and I mean it may have been like 100 people in the room, but they're like so close to you when you're playing. They're like, my drums are here, and they're right here.
yeah,
So it's like we played maybe like four tunes of our originals, and man, the energy was just crazy
yeah,
in the room. It's like
yeah,
they're like right here up on you, experiencing the whole thing. And we're obviously feeding off of their energy, so it's making us even even go even harder and like just allowing ourselves to just be free in that moment. And it was amazing. And we actually captured it on video and everything. It's on
uh,
YouTube. And you can even feel the energy from the video. It's like and normally for us, like at shows, we have a great show and the energy is there, but then we go back and look at the footage, it doesn't necessarily transfer to that. But this particular situation was that was one of the first situations that happened. And we were very proud of it.
yeah. That's that's really
Yeah.
special. Like when you get those kinds of moments that can be intimate, but also just just full of energy, and you feed off the crowd.
Yeah.
That there's nothing really quite like that. My guest is J. Rod Sullivan, and he and his band Four Corners are going to be here on Thursday night for two shows. Thursday night, January 22nd, for two shows. One's at
Yep.
6, the other's at 8:30, and and that's at Crazy Uncle Mike's in Boca Raton. Crazy Uncle Mike's, a great spot. Have you been there before? Have you seen the place? It is special. You
Yes.
know,
Oh, absolutely. So this will be our what, third time there and doing the show there?
yeah, third
Yeah.
time,
So I
great.
love the spot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great spot. I as you could tell by the snow on the roof and the white beard. I've been around a little longer than you, but
Hey
I
man, mine is starting to come in too, man.
is it coming in?
It's
Yeah,
coming
I'll
in.
give you some pointers on how to No, it's funny because I go back to watching these bands in the '80s, early '80s on, and going to
Right.
places like the Bottom Line in New York and Blue Note, New York, and places Trocadero in Philadelphia, and these kinds of places where in that the Northeast where I grew up, and
Mhm.
you could feel the energy of these bands, and they'd come in and they would just, it was a special thing. I missed the
Yeah.
golden age of the '70s. I was a little young for that. I was a kid, but by the time the '80s rolled around, I was ready for it. And
Yeah.
you guys are, you know, continuing the legacy. You're taking this music, and you're doing something special. Now you studied music in Atlanta, right? You were at the tell the folks where you were there in
Atlanta Institute of Music.
Atlanta. Yeah,
And I went there. Now that I'm thinking about it, I graduated from high school in 2011. And that following fall is when I started at Atlanta Institute of Music. And I graduated in 2012. At the time, it was only like a 1 year program.
yeah,
And for me, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, this is the route I want to take because I want to learn everything or retain, not be able to retain, but have all the information that I need to be successful in the industry
yeah,
as a drummer. And of course, I had to go back and put in the work because that's a lot of material to be able to put in and be able to retain in 1 year. So I definitely did the homework, but simultaneously though, I was still able to pursue a career and not be, in school. So that was the route I chose to take.
Did they help maybe with that experience at school there? Did
Mhm.
they help connect you with opportunities with the ones you got, or was that through just networking
Um,
or combination of all
no, not
that?
necessarily. So I'll be honest. They they do that to a certain extent, but it's only so much that they can do.
Yeah.
They present you with several different opportunities, and it may be some may be within the lane that you're trying to go in, and others may not be. But they do present certain opportunities to you, and you can choose whether to take them or not. But me personally, I believe, well, I know for a fact, social media had a lot to do with my success as a musician. Um, for me, that's where it started. All the way back to 2006. I was playing in church. That's where I started playing gospel music,
Yeah.
and that was when I was younger. Like, but I started playing when I was 4 years old. But I started playing in church maybe around age 6. So all the way up until 2006, music was kind of like a hobby for me. At the time, I was involved in sports and school and all this stuff. But 2006 is when, around the time YouTube came out, and I began, posting on social media. So the way I got my first gig outside of church was somebody saw my video on YouTube, and they reached out. They were local in my hometown, Cartersville, and they hit me up on MySpace. That was the social media platform back then, and sent me a message, say, "Hey, do you want to do this gig?" And I was like, "Yeah." So from that point, I just stayed consistent with that. I did one gig, met new people. They get another opportunity, call me for that. So it's just a uphill climb,
Yeah.
and just continuing the journey. But so I continued all that through high school, even when I went to Atlanta Institute of Music, still going to jams and networking with people and just building relationships. And I feel like that's the biggest thing. And even when you go to school, like for me personally, um, I believe the outside of the knowledge that I gained from going to school, it was the relationships that I built and the people that I met, just being in that environment.
Yeah.
So it was just from relationships, honestly. That's how I got to where I am now. And but of course though, you have to be a good person, you have to be cool to be around, easy to work with, professionals, all that stuff
Yeah.
plays a part. But yeah, I would say that I did most of the work to get to where I'm at now. And just, like I said, just connecting with people and building relationships.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, it's obviously paying off in big ways, and that's just fantastic.
Thank you,
Again,
man.
yeah, it's great. The music is just fantastic. I can't wait to hear the band live. J. Rod Sullivan and the Four Corners are going to be at Crazy Uncle Mike's in Boca Raton, Florida, on Thursday, January 22nd, and two shows at 6 p.m. and then again at 8:30 p.m. The album is called The Comeback, and
Right.
J. Rod, you wrote a lot of the music on there, or co-composed it, and
Right.
for you, the compositional process, drums is your instrument. I don't do you play piano a little bit, or do you dabble a little bit with that?
I do. So I
Yeah,
play a little bit of piano, and bass guitar.
and bass. Great.
Yeah. So I do enough to produce and arrange and
Yeah,
get the ideas out. And I was able to do that with a combination of just humming or singing voice memos and sending it to the band like, hey, I'm hearing this melody, I'm hearing this groove, this
yeah,
bass line, and we just kind of build it together from there. They're experts on their instruments, so I can do enough to get the idea down, but in order to execute it, I got to call the pros. So
yeah.
that's what happened.
There you go. Uh,
Yeah.
that's great, and I'll tell you, there's nothing better. This guy right here, the phone.
Yep.
You think, who knows, wherever you are, right? Like if you've got it with you and you're driving or you're doing what, and your melody comes to you suddenly, you
Yep.
can just jump on that thing and just, record it, and you've got it forever. And then you can go
Immediately.
back to your instrument, right, and work
That
it
li-
out.
that literally happened to me 2 days ago. I was in the
Did
shower
it?
at like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
I heard a melody, jumped out of the shower, opened up the voice memo, had to record it. Because if you don't, it's gone
It's
immediately.
gone. Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, it's gone forever.
Gone.
Uh,
Yep.
it is great that we have that ability. When I was coming up playing music, we had tape recorders, but
Right.
this thing is just could be more convenient.
Yeah.
Do you find that do ideas come to you in like with a sound occasionally? Like maybe like you're let's say you're just working, you're drumming, you're home by yourself, you're in your
Hmm.
studio there as we see in the background. And you're just
Hmm.
playing, you're just getting yourself, working out stuff. And maybe some sort of drum pattern or a tone of a drum uh, is played, and then does it spark for you an idea for a tune or for something that it can be developed? Do you find you're inspired by sound?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's a couple things. So, we have our own influences. We have our own, we have genres of music and styles that we listen to on a regular basis. So it's like if I hear a particular sound, like it could be in a record or something that I could be working on a session and I'll be going through sounds looking for a specific sound, but then I'll land on one. I'm like, "Ooh, this sounds cool," and then I'll play it, and I'm like, "Okay, this is dope. It's reminding me of a song that inspires me and that I heard," and then immediately I get an idea.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, I do get inspired by sounds, and most of the time, I don't start creating music from the drums though. For me, it's more the melody and like a bass line. It's strange. I don't know. I don't know, but that's for me. That's where I connect emotionally. Is like the melody or the bass line, and then I go back and then record the drums to kind of figure out what I want to do drum wise. But for me, that's how it usually starts. It's a song on the record to come back called "Then and Now." That one started with just the melody for me, and I hummed the melody, and then I sent it to the guys. I'm like, "Hey, this is the melody I got." And then I went back and tried to, put chords and stuff to it, and just build everything around it. So yeah, it's for me, it's a lot of I'll get inspired by hearing melodies and just kind of go from there and add the bass line and drums and stuff like that, and just compose the whole song.
Yeah, when fusion became a thing in your life, when you started to say, "Hey, this over here, this I'm really digging on this."
Yeah.
What drummers were you listening to at the time? Like in your formative in those early years.
So for me, like I said earlier, I started playing in church.
Yeah,
So gospel and R&B music were my roots.
yeah,
I didn't get into fusion until 2013, and that's when I joined the Four Corners. So that was like my introduction into a fusion situation. Like I didn't play fusion, I didn't play jazz, none of that stuff. I heard it, but I still didn't understand it to the point to where I was able to, like, somebody would call me, I'd be able to do a gig, you
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So 2013 is when I really started to dig in and learn the style, learn the genre, and Dave Weckl was the main influence. Because when I joined the band, the keyboardist Clarence, he was like, "Hey, this is our influence, Chick Corea Electric Band. They work all day." So I studied a lot of Dave, studied Vinny too,
yeah,
um, Dennis Chambers,
yeah,
all those guys. So yeah, that Dave was my introduction
yeah,
into fusion. Um, they, like I said, when I started to study Dave, that's when I learned the importance of dynamics, like how using dynamics can make the music feel and create more emotion
yeah,
and all that stuff. Because playing in church, I was only told like, "Hey, play harder. We can't hear you." So it's like that was my introduction into dynamics and balancing my kit, mixing myself, meaning like making sure my snare hand is not louder than everything else on the kit that I'm playing. So
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
But that was my introduction.
What kind of kit you have back there? What's? Tell me a little bit about the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I have a Pro Reference One.
yeah,
Um, so the thing about this kit, it's like and forgive me if I'm saying this wrong, Pearl, but the smaller toms are birch, and then the larger the size goes, it begins to mix in. maple, and then like the bigger drums, like the kick and the floor toms,
Right.
it begins to blend with African mahogany.
Right.
So it's three different woods. So from smallest to largest is birch, maple, African mahogany,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's what that kit is. And it's the color is purple craze. That's the name of it. And then
yeah. Now is that the
and then I
kit
got
that's
the
is
snare
that the
back
kit that's
there.
coming with you, or do you have another kit for the road?
No, I got another kit. So we're
Yeah.
doing backline situation. It's a
Yeah.
reference though. This is a reference one, but the reference is the previous one of the previous models compared to this. This is the newer reference one.
Right.
And then the snare that I have is the reference snare is 20 ply. Maple. I love that snare. It cracks. And I always try to make sure I have one of those backlined on the road as well. So
Yeah.
but yeah, and then the cymbals I got are Sabian. I just joined Sabian back in what was it last year? In was it March or April? And yeah, couldn't be happier, man.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, that's
And then
great.
Remo heads on the drums and ProMark drumsticks. I switched to them as well last
Yep.
year.
Yep. Well,
Yep.
you're roadworthy. You're ready to go. Everything's ready to to hit. That is
Man,
fantastic.
it's a blessing, man.
Oh man, I'm really looking forward to hearing you. I think I'm going to be coming along with my drummer, my longtime musical partner, and
Sweet.
I'm sure he's gonna just totally love hearing the band. You especially behind the kit doing what you do. And if you
Yeah,
want to
man.
see J. Rod Sullivan do what he does, you got to get to Crazy Uncle Mike's in Boca Raton.
Yes, sir.
You can go to crazyunclemikes.com. Crazyunclemikes.com is where you can learn a lot more about the show. Get your tickets, get all squared away for one of two shows, one at 6 p.m. and one at 8:30 on Thursday, January 22nd. And the album again is called The Comeback. Where can folks get the album?
You can get the album for digital download on my website, j-rodsullivan.com. And also it's available on all DSPs, all streaming platforms.
Right.
And I believe we have physical copies on it. Yeah, we do. We have physical copies on my website as well. CDs and vinyl. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes,
so
sir.
Every format out there, except maybe 8-track. There's no 8-tracks.
Yeah, no 8-track.
You've actually heard of those? Have you?
I've heard of it.
I was making a real dated reference there, but my first car had an 8. The car was old, was pretty old car, but it had an 8-track in it, and it worked. And it just popped the 8-track in, and then you'd be right in the middle of a great guitar solo or a drum solo, and then the track changed. You had to wait for it to fade out and come back in on the next track. Not the most ideal way of listening to music, but
right.
We've rectified that over the years.
Now, the first time I heard about an 8-track is through Jeffrey Osborne.
Okay. Yeah, he would be old enough to know that.
Oh, yeah, he definitely knows.
That's great. That's hysterical. Yeah. Well, listen, J-Rod, thanks so much, man, for taking time out to join us. This has been a lot of fun. Love to have you back.
Absolutely.
We'd love to talk more with you, and folks, seriously, you want to check this music out. It's really, really great. J. Rod Sullivan and Four Korners, the Four Korners. You can go online and check them out. And I believe, and the Korners is spelled with a K, right?
Correct. Yep. Number 4 and Korners with a K.
Yeah, with a K. And but if you're in South Florida, whether you live here or you're just down here warming up from the winter up north or wherever you are, and you just kind of want to check it out, vacation, go to Crazy Uncle Mike's and check out the band, because you will not be disappointed. I can guarantee it. And again, Thursday night, January 22nd. 2 shows, one at 6, one at 8:30. J-Rod Sullivan and the Four Korners with a K.
Yes, sir.
All right, there he is. J-Rod, thanks again. Really appreciate your time, and we'll definitely have you back on the FusionShare podcast. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
My name is Tom Alexander. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you again next time right here on the FusionShare podcast. So long, everybody.